April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Oma volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111. Salt Mine City is not only Lincoln's newest brewery, but they're also now serving food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their peanut butter and jelly burger with bacon and cheddar cheese, or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. Don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R.
LES wants your feedback. Help shape your electric utility's direction and priorities by taking an anonymous online survey. Make your voice heard before the survey closes on April 30th at les.com/survey.
Biggest question people have is, how do I start the process? What is the process? I want to build a new home, but I don't know what the first step is.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
The first step is make an appointment. Come on into my office. Let's sit around the table. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what your needs are, what your budget might be. And let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. And get a house that you're going to be happy with. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done. Once you find a good lot, let's get it reserved, because there's a very limited number of lots in this town. And then start designing that floor plan that's going to be perfect for you. Next thing you know, we're moving dirt.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT, from cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with the child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting lincolnteammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America, on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Derek Pearson, brought to you by Canopy Street Market.
Boom, Bach. In your face, live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is hosting the NCAA Wrestling Championships. I'm thrilled to be out here. Gonna have dinner with the big guy, with Mark Manning, this evening, and we'll talk about and set up a pretty incredible weekend here in Philly. for the Huskers and wrestling. I want to thank the folks from Stevens and Smith as well, and the folks from Canopy Street Market for helping us out and sponsoring us and making sure this happens. We're live, so you can jump on the Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Hit me with a what's up. Hit Bach with a what's up if you got questions. Bach, you know how we do, man. We're gonna spin the wheel, and we could end up in a variety of places.
That's right.
So I warn people in advance that we're going to be all over the place. In the second segment, I'm going to go through the first round matchups that the Husker 9 that qualified are going to face and kind of give some breakdown for what that's going to look like. But 9 of the 10 traditionally starting lineup roster Husker wrestlers qualified for this tournament. And the seedings are according to Bach. This is a fascinating accumulation of sports fans. Wrestling fans are their own breed. They're their own breed. This is it. Bach, you ever walked into a place where every man, woman, and child look like they're waiting for something to jump off? Like they're all walking around fully fit, always yoked, and ready for somebody to make a misstep so they can take them down. Like
that sounds like walking on some thin ice there.
Oh, it is pretty remarkable that everybody walking around, I mean, it's just super jacked and fit. And I'm probably the most unfit person that I've run into since even on the flights, right? I flew out through Chicago to beat the storm, and I ended up being sat next to by an Iowa fan and an Iowa State fan. An Iowa wrestling fan and a Iowa State wrestling fan. And then across the aisle was a Penn State fan and another Iowa fan. Directly in front of me was a wrestler and a coach from Northwestern. So I was getting the full impact. And I had jokingly told Austin Norman last week that at the Big Ten basketball tournament, I was trying to avoid Iowa fans at all costs. Like it was just like, no, I don't have that in me. But nice enough gentlemen, all of them former wrestlers, all of them now dads of wrestlers, right? Guys who wrestle around the country. They're all uniform in celebrating Penn State and what they've done just from an athletic standpoint, from a dominant standpoint, applauding Penn State without giving them too much credit because you don't want to empower the villain, right? Because everybody, it's Penn State versus the world here in Philadelphia, and it's a home meet. Like imagine the national championships being a home meet. Well, this is a home meet, and Penn State fans are everywhere. I would say that next it's Iowa fans, Iowa State fans, and then Nebraska fans. And Nebraska will have some pretty good support at Wells Fargo starting tomorrow morning. For session 1, and there are 8 mats. I got to walk around Wells Fargo this morning. There are 8 mats side by side. It's a great room. It's where, of course, it's where the Sixers and Flyers play. But Bach, it's pretty fascinating to just breathe it in. The practices were today. The Huskers will practice from 3 to 4:30 today, so 2 to 3:30. Central Time. They're going to practice and get their licks in. Everybody's pretty healthy, and we'll talk about that over the course of this hour. But Bach, the weather, it's 60 degrees here.
Oh, you got nice weather there.
Oh, thank you, Mother Nature. Thank you, Mother Nature. 60 degrees. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, but it's supposed to be 60 and 50. Lower 50s at night. But the city, I mean, Philly's a big city anyway. It's a busy city anyway. But this is chaotic because there's a lot of Midwestern folk walking around trying to figure out where they can go, where they can't go. in
Yeah.
Philadelphia. Right, I had to explain to them, Philadelphia is not Ames, Iowa. It is not Iowa City. So you gotta get in your lane and stay in your lane.
Have you been to Philadelphia quite a bit? It's one of the places I gotta go. I haven't been east too much, but I would love to go to Philadelphia. There's so much going on especially as a sports town.
Yeah, okay. So Philadelphia sports fans, there's certain iconic groups of sports fans, and we tend to think of. You can think of it on a college level, or you can think of it on the pro sports level. Philly is a pro sports town. Like it has its Villanova, its St. Francis, it has its St. Joe's, it has its collegiate work, but it is a pro sports town. And you can spot a Phillies / Eagles / Flyers fan anywhere. Look, they don't have to talk. They don't. It's in the walk. It's in the posture. And being a DC kid, we would come to Philly quite a bit. One, I had some folks on my dad's side who were from Philly, so we would go up to family reunions on weekends and that sort of thing. And it's a pretty short drive from DC, but because of the NFL, the NBA, NHL, you would make the trip from DC to Philly. But you did it with a whole bunch of rules in play. Like you knew there's some stuff that I can't do here on the road in Philly that I would do at home. And to compare it, and if you took Cowboys fans, Eagles fans, Giants fans, Commanders fans would rather give the business to Cowboy and Giants fans before Eagles fans. Eagles fans are the ones on the pyramid that you just went, you're making a business decision. If you're going to go, if you're going to go left, this is going to be a thing. So much so that most of the Washington franchises set up analytical blocks on ticket sales to fans from Philadelphia area codes. So if you're a Phillies fan, you were trying to go to DC to watch them play the Nats, Nationals had set it up so that you couldn't buy tickets online. If you had a Pennsylvania zip code, like it was. The old joke about them, throwing snowballs at Santa. It's real.
Yeah, they turned on Santa.
Right, like they turned on Santa, and they have a jail in the stadium, right? Just because stuff's going to happen. Like, it's not a matter of if things are going to happen in Philly. They're going to happen. Then it's just, how are you going to deal with it? And are you going to participate? And then you add to it that football Philly often has bad weather. So they're feisty and they're cold. It's like they're double mad. And then add to it, here comes the Midwest. And Philly is kind of, imagine Omaha as Philly proper, and then how quickly, if you go outside of Omaha in any direction, how many fewer people exist and how many different other cultures are surrounded. Well, that's Philadelphia, is that the Dutch, the German, the Italian, the Black, you can go in different directions and get culturally a whole bunch of other things in a hurry. So again, the conversation for Midwestern Iowa folks, Midwestern wrestling folks who are coming to town, they're hyped, they're pumped, right? This is their event. I'm amazed at how many of the people I talk to, this is one of their vacation events for the year. This is one of the thing that they buy. I don't think I would say 30 wrestling fans just talking to in hotels and on airplanes and airports, but all 30 of them have season tickets wrestling at some university. They all have season tickets. This is their thing. This is their Super Bowl, which led me to ask, and I'll ask you this thing, Bach. and the text line, you guys can chime in. But what if you could only go? Let's say you could go to 2 sporting events a year, 2 annual sporting events. What 2 would it be? And you can go through the list of those events. Of course, we're in March Madness, and there's men's and women's, and those are 2 entirely different events, right? Women's March Madness, while not in the full scope normally with, pre Caitlin Clark, in this day and era, it has full reaching, and its fans are more tightly tentacled to it than the men's game. Women's college basketball fans are fanatical in a high level, and I put them on the same level with wrestling fans. But where would you go, Bach, if you could pick 2 events, right? 2 annual events, and we can include WrestleMania and Royal Rumble, that sort of thing. You can put UFC in there. I think if you said, World Series versus World Series Game 7 is different. NBA Finals versus NHL Stanley Cup playoffs versus Game 7, right? So what are the ones for you that you would dive in the pool for?
Well, I think naturally just my 2 favorite sports would be, college football. So, to be honest, I love rivalries and stuff like that. So the playoff, like the championship game, would be something on my bucket list at some point. But I'd almost rather go to LSU, Alabama, or Michigan, Ohio State, or find my favorite college football game of the year, if you will, would probably be up there. And then, kind of similar to when you're tied to a team. If the Celtics make the finals, then I'd like to go to an NBA Finals game. But if they don't, just a Celtics playoff game would probably be 2 events I'd pick more than any.
Have you been to the new Boston Arena?
No, like I said, I really need to travel east some point because I've been I've seen both oceans. I've been to Asia, but I have not been to the East Coast. I need to go to Boston and New York and Philadelphia. All that Washington D.C. I've never been to any of them. Yeah,
it's a real thing, right? That traveling and meeting the people, right? Meeting the people, and then being in the venues during those events. It used to be, so if you asked me 15 years ago, there was nothing in sports bigger than Washington, Dallas, anywhere. There was never anything that was going to match that. That often Washington versus Dallas had more meaning than Super Bowl. Even if Washington was playing in the Super Bowl, it wasn't as big of an event, emotional event, as Washington, Dallas. If you asked me 25 years ago, boxing, a heavyweight or a primetime, I can tell you, having seen Tyson live, having seen Sugar Ray Sugar Ray Leonard and Duran, I hate to tell you, there's no Super Bowl that measured to that. And that's having been to 11 Super Bowls, and it doesn't. But I can also tell you, going to Vegas and seeing UFC with Jones versus Miocic or Conor McGregor, it's a different level. It's a different thing. And I'm not sure. Like WrestleMania, there was a Rock Hogan WrestleMania. Pretty big, right? Pretty big. So I don't know I don't know I don't know, because of the way college football is now, that there could ever be a college football game matchup that would give me the tingles the way some of these things would do. I would ask you, so let's say if it's Celtics Lakers and it's Red Sox Dodgers, if it's let's say Nebraska catches lightning in a bottle, right? Even if they're not favored to win, but they make a playoff game, right? So they're one of the top 8. Where does that rank? Where would you put if you could go ringside WrestleMania, whoever it is? Huskers in the first round of the playoffs. So let's imagine they make the first game, right? They make the first game. They make the NCAA tournament, basketball, right?
Yeah.
And they're favored to win the first game.
Yeah. Somehow they're a higher seed at some point.
Right. Like if they're a 5 seed, right?
Yeah.
Because I think 5 seed puts you in the top 20, right? Where you kind of feel like it would be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure top 30 moves the needle. Top 20, is that fair? Top 20 makes you feel pretty good about that. So, what would be the ideal?
Boy, that's tough. I mean, you're making me choose between my children at this point. But, I mean, because I think about the nuance, and there would be obviously a nuance to Nebraska basketball winning a NCAA tournament game. It's crazy, and just throughout my life, expecting that at some point I will see that, and I still do. And they're close, right? They almost made the tournament this year. It can happen in a year, but we've been saying that for years. I mean, not to make it too gloomy here, but I grew up watching basketball with my father. My father watched Nebraska basketball for 60 years, and he passed away. And we watched last year's game together, and it was like because I knew he had stage 4 cancer, so it was going to be probably his last opportunity to see it. And it's just like, man, some of this stuff just might not ever happen in your lifetime. So some of the stuff that you're talking about, it's like the nuance of it could be very important. And so Nebraska basketball is so near and dear to my heart. It's hard to pick anything over that. But to think about the nuance of Nebraska football in their first playoff game after what has seemingly amounted to a lifetime of not being in the relevance category, I think I'd probably have to choose that football one almost just to get back to my nostalgic feels of my childhood of playing in a game of that magnitude. Because again, I think it would bring me back to when I was a kid and Nebraska was top 5 all year long. And when they played those matchups, the eyes of the nation were on them. It would just be incredible to be in that. And then again, how it's currently set up, I suppose could be a road matchup or a home game for Nebraska. So, I mean, I think I would choose those, but then again, like I said, you're making me pick between my kids because I do need to make it to a WrestleMania at some point too.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, right? That you go, I'm recently vested in Nebraska basketball, but I would imagine that the night when that happens, that Nebraska wins an NCAA basketball tournament game, that there are tears in Nebraska, right? Like,
yeah.
Like there are going to be people who cry at the idea. But on the same token, if Nebraska football makes a playoff game, the moment they clinch that or that is announced, right? If they're selected or whatever, there will be tears in Lincoln, Nebraska. I mean, think about that, Bach. Like, I'm not wrong.
No. And it would just you saying that, it's like we hear it from the outside and you hear it for years and years that college football would be better if Nebraska were in contention. And you hear that from around the nation, people that remember it. But it's like it really would. It would move people to that degree. And so when you think about it being better, it's not like, yeah, it'd be kind of more fun to watch them. It'd be like, this would be, again, generational of some of the older folks, being able to look at some of the younger people and being like, this is Nebraska football. This is what we know. We are back. So, I mean, it would be absolutely incredible. And yes, I'll raise my hand first for either one of those situations. There will be tears and not maybe just, one or two here and there. I'll be probably crying for much of the end game if they're able to win.
I mean, it's pretty fascinating to ponder that and say, okay, Bach, there's 5 doors that you can choose to walk through as a Nebraska fan. One is an appearance in the NCAA football playoff. Door 2 is a win in the NCAA basketball tournament. Door 3 is a national title in wrestling. Door 4 is another national title in volleyball. Door 5 is a Husker Heisman Trophy winner.
Mm.
What door do you go to? What door do you think Husker fans line up at in full? And there's no unanimous choice. Like, I literally know that you could add, college baseball World Series.
Oh yeah.
You win the College World Series. Not just go to regionals and play well, right? I'm talking about win the whole, as Jake from Major League says, win the whole dang thing. What door do you line up at?
Yeah, I was glad you said the College World Series too, because that's another one that's like, it's hard to explain. I went to the retirement ceremony for Shane Comine and Darren Erstad and Alex Gordon. And in my head, I was thinking, because those names come from the late 90s, early 2000s, and some of those College World Series runs, in my head, I was thinking, that's the crowd I'm going to go see. That's what I think for a moment in time. And it didn't happen. And it was a cool ceremony. I don't mean to drag anybody down, but just kind of, there's just, I always say, you can't fake stakes. You can't make it up. And so when it actually happens and the pandemonium's going on and the crowds are there, it's just incredible. But you go through that list, and I still think, for each individual Husker fan, you got to make a choice. But for Husker fans as a whole, man, they love football. So I think they might choose a playoff appearance.
I would say that, right? That, and we'll go to break and come back and talk wrestling. But I would ask that question: that does it have to be? Is it relevancy in college football for Husker football? Right, relevancy. You want it to be not only relevant, but for it to matter in other places, right? That making the college playoff. We're not talking about winning the Big Ten. We're not talking about winning a playoff game. We're talking about just getting in. Lots to ponder and consider. All right, we'll throw the break. More from Philadelphia. DP Bach, one-on-one.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those magical 2 days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday and get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it. And stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and O.
Hello.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Aloe Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela, they let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit aloefiber.com to switch today.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Nottingham Forest plays Man City at 6:30 a.m., followed by Liverpool versus Southampton at 9 a.m. On Sunday, Tottenham plays Bournemouth at 9 a.m., followed by Man United versus Arsenal at 11:30 a.m. Liverpool currently leads the standings with 67 points. You can find all this and more at McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket, your place for English Premier League soccer, located at 8th and P.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio, video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today: snow, wind, and blizzard conditions likely. We'll see a high around 36. Tonight, decreasing clouds, continue wind, a low around 20. And tomorrow, we'll see sunny skies with a light breeze and an afternoon high around 44. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
What's going on, fans? This is Lexi Rodriguez, four-time All-American at Nebraska and now proud member of Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League One Volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players, and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering us on in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action this season. Go Big Green!
Back to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back live from Philly, One-on-One. DP, Bach manning the board. Bach, do you know this song?
I do not know this song, but I'm grooving to it, and I was thinking, man, I got to do this this song more often when we bring it back in.
It is the Ohio Players. That's where that comes from. That whole "the" thing comes from the one and only Don Cornelius, and he would have the Ohio Players come on the Soul Train. Fire. Follow it up with some Love Roller Coaster. You got some. Oh man, Bach! It is again. It's pretty cool, and we warn people when Bach and I have time where we can just spin the wheel and go around. We go around and around in circles pretty easily. And you're right in the conversation of what thing moves Nebraska sports fans, and in degrees and in increments. I know that football is the straw that stirs the drink. As a matter of fact, it is the drink. It is the drink. Let's not play with it. But the degree of relevancy certainly matters. Mainly because it takes fewer resources to elevate the other programs than it does football. It takes all inclusive, all of that money, all amounts of money to get Nebraska football back to its rightful place, as Husker fans will tell you, its rightful place in the college football hierarchy. But I think being relevant, getting onto the island of relevant kids, getting into that room of relevant kids is and I'm not sure that first things first doesn't apply. That getting them into that conversation of playoffs before we'll walk before we try to run again. But getting to the college playoff would be vital. But I think that thing's been done. Winning in March Madness hasn't been done.
Yeah.
When you really want to spin your head, that it's been a long time since football was relevant or really good. Basketball's never won a March Madness game, and that, like, in my head, I would go deep. I would do a deep dive, and I would invest everything, because I think that if you got basketball right, you could then more easily get football right. How you make that happen would follow. It would work. And I'm not sure which direction it needs to go in. I don't know which one's the cart or the horse. I don't know which one's the chicken or the egg. But Bach, maybe one day we can have that discussion and figure out exactly if they can figure out how to manage and make their 12 basketball players top 10, top 20, top 10, then it becomes much more easily done for the 105 football players.
Yeah, I wonder too, like, and I obviously love Nebraska basketball, but I just wonder how much of it's even on the radar outside, because, like, sometimes you'll hear fans be like, "Oh, I didn't even know this team had a program," and I think at times Nebraska could probably fall into that category. After all, as we all know, after Northwestern got the win a couple years ago in the tournament, it's the only Power 4, formerly Power 5 team not to win one in the tournament. So, it's kind of funny, because just going through the conversation, I remember Carricker a couple of weeks ago was asking me, okay, what do you think happens first? Nebraska wins a March Madness game or Nebraska makes it to the playoffs? And I said, well, and again, you want to feel like you want to say, well, it could happen in next year. It could happen in the next couple months. I said, you could have asked me whether Nebraska was going to win a football conference championship or win a March Madness game in the year 2000, which would happen first, and we still wouldn't know. So,
we wouldn't know. We wouldn't know. But do we dare try to answer that? Which one is more likely? That the easier thing has been the impossible thing. The easier thing would be actually winning an NCAA tournament basketball game.
Yeah.
By literally any metric, not the matrix. In any vacuum other than the matrix, Nebraska wins a March Madness tournament game. It shouldn't take a lot, but I think it's more likely that Nebraska wins a tournament game next year in basketball than it is for Nebraska football to be in college football playoffs. Is that fair?
I hope so. I mean, I don't know. I want to say I hope so. I want to see what next year's raw. I mean, we've got to go through this transfer portal thing. I mean, the college basketball crown is going to be fun and kind of a send off to some of our favorite Huskers over the past couple of years. But you look at next year's returning roster, and they just needs some patchwork, like every roster does across the country. But obviously, just losing Bryce and Juwan, it's hard. It's hard. It's like you said, it's kind of the Matrix. So it's hard living in the Matrix of the Nebraska basketball reality. It just doesn't look like, I guess, the perfect time to strike as far as winning a tournament game. But you are right in the fact that it's not that hard. Like as much as it's never happened at Nebraska, all these other programs can do it. You don't have to be the favorite going in. You can win as an 11 or 12 seed.
Alabama State won last night.
There you go.
Alabama State won last night, and I don't care if they win in a play-in game. I don't care. For you to get on that stage in that environment and deliver. I think, and here's the thing, to tell me that you can't find 2 players in the transfer portal who can help you win a tournament game is wrong. If you told me you needed 5 players, 5 new players, the transfer portal allows that.
Yeah.
And a critical mass item in the transfer portal, especially in basketball, is if I'm going to make the change of program, that I have to be the number 1 guy at that position at the new school, which is exactly what Nebraska wants, right? If you want 5 guys, you want to bring in 5 dudes who are better than the 5 dudes you have, right? You know what the market is. You know that they exist, and that somewhere there's 2 guys from Alabama State we could look at and went, wait a minute, they can play for Nebraska. Sure could. Like, you can look around, look at St. Francis. They had some. So those folks are out there, right? And they just had to be. Remember, Juwan Gary was what, the number 7 or 8 player at Alabama, right?
Yep.
So this tournament is going to showcase. Sorry, Matt Rule, but it's a showcase, and people are watching. If you see some dudes coming off benches, or some dudes who are not satisfied where they are, in this tournament, you now get to go grocery shopping. First of all, you're shopping at the other 200 right now. Right now. The 64 that are playing in that tournament, you get to grocery shop for the next 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Make your grocery list, check your budget, move some money around, and get to it. Because
It's good for Nebraska, and I'm glad that you brought that up because it does feel just, from a Nebraska basketball fan, the way the season ended, hopefully they can kind of change the narrative here with the college basketball crown, but it feels like you're kind of in a dark place, right? Like, it didn't finish well. But you are right. It's not, even if they do have to add a bunch in the transfer portal, teams are doing it every year and making it to the tournament. But it's also something kind of interesting to note this year. We always fall in love with these Cinderella teams. And it's such a cool story. And then you usually have, their attendance at their school skyrocket and all that. But now, as we've seen over the last couple of years, those players don't stay at that school. That coach has never really stayed at that school, right? Very rarely. So that's kind of the old thing, is that's always kind of been here and gone. But now it's crazy that when you're watching the magic of the Cinderella team, you can take it in as this is going to be their last run, because they've already hit a level to where their NIL demand is going to be higher than probably what that Cinderella school can pay.
And there is revenue coming from these televised games. There's additional revenue. So the people who are still playing, they're making more money. They're actually fundraising now. And that's the importance of Crown for Nebraska and Fred Hoiberg, is to use it as a recruiting tool, not only for players, but for alumni with money, to include them in and to give them some bang for the buck. And listen, a few days in Las Vegas goes a really long way when it comes to getting boosters to write checks, to write bigger checks. So that's all in play, and that is a real thing. But Mike, that's kind of what we're dealing with. The opportunity is there. I just think we need to pay attention to it. I do want to. I'll dip my toe into the wrestling because I want to get through that matchup. The first round of matchups start tomorrow here at 12 noon. There in Lincoln at 11 a.m. and they, again, 8 matches at a time. Some interesting things. Of the 9 Nebraska wrestlers who qualified for this tournament. 7 of them, 8 of them actually would be considered. 7 of them are the higher ranked in their first round matchups. 8 of them are considered favorites in the first round. So if you're talking about Caleb Smith, who was number 2 in the Big Ten at the Big Ten tournament, was ranked number 9 because the 125-pound weight class is an absolute meat grinder. I think in the 5 lower weight classes, it is insanity at how good and how deep the weight classes are. We will speed through those when we come back. Bach, I'm telling you that the matchups are insane. There's some great opportunities, but this is gladiator time. There are no easy wins. Everybody here is qualified and a winner. It's going to be a great tournament here in Philly. Nebraska wrestling has its work cut out for it, but that's okay. That's why we're here. DP Bach, one-on-one.
Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Salt Mine City is not only Lincoln's newest brewery, but they're also now serving food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their peanut butter and jelly burger with bacon and cheddar cheese, or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. Don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Biggest question people have is, how do I start the process? What is the process? I want to build a new home, but I don't know what the first step is.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
The first step is make an appointment. Come on into my office. Let's sit around the table. Let's talk about what you're looking for, what your needs are, what your budget might be. And let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. And get a house that you're going to be happy with. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done. Once you find a good lot, let's get it reserved because there's a very limited number of lots in this town. And then start designing that floor plan that's going to be perfect for you. Next thing you know, we're moving dirt.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Right now, when you drive by Honda of Lincoln, you'll see more than 200 new Hondas and over 125 pre-owned vehicles. Hi, Charlie Stone here, and with me on the line is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, how does it feel to have so many vehicles in stock again for your customers?
Charlie, it feels amazing to see how excited our customers are. They love the ability to see, test drive, and take immediate delivery of the exact new Honda they're looking for.
Do you have some good offers to talk about?
We sure do, Charlie. We're offering financing as low as 0.9% APR up to 72 months or great lease rates on every new Honda. It's the perfect time to drive away in the new Honda you've been dreaming of.
How about pre-owned, Andy?
We have over 125 pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Just about every make and model with prices starting at under $10,000.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service, but it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your County Veteran Service Officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free, so visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Love is in the air, and so are big savings. It's the Big I Do event at Sartor Heyman Jewelers, South Point Pavilions, April 4th through the 6th. For 3 days only, enjoy 20% off all engagement rings and wedding bands, plus exclusive bridal collections from our top designers. Whether you're saying yes or I do, shop now for the year's best prices and selection. April 4th through 6th, Sartor Heyman Jewelers, South Point Pavilions.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
You're listening to One on One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Buck. One more time. Who is this? Who is this?
I do not know. I do not know this one either.
One nation under a group. This is Parliament Funkadelic and George Clinton. George Clinton is the correct answer, Bach. Okay. That is a jam. That is a historically badass jam. From Philly, again, it's the wrestling championship starts tomorrow, 11 o'clock Central Time. They'll start with the little guys. Caleb Smith, who is a 9 seed. He was number 2, finished second, finished as the runner-up in the Big Ten tournament, was ranked 9th at this tournament, which some folks scratch their head at a little bit. He's going to face Nick Babin from Pitt in his first round matchup. Jacob Van D is ranked 17th. He's facing a number 16, of course, the way the pairings work out, Ryan Miller from Penn. But here's the thing. There are folks who you fall on either side with Van D. He's either going to make a run and go national, but he was literally knocked out of the Big Ten tournament with a concussion last week. So he's gone through the concussion protocol. Van D can make a run, but it's just tough. It's tough weight class. Brock Hardy's the number 1 seed, and at 141, I don't think he's going to have much problem in round 1. I think his draw is as good as anybody's for round 1. The same could be said for Ridge Lovett at 149, who is the number 2 seed nationally going to this tournament. A 20-2 season for Ridge Lovett, and he and Brock Hardy are the Big Ten tournament champions coming into this thing, which sets it up. At 157, Antrell Taylor at 22-4. 22-4. That's quite the year. Even with a tough performance at Big Tens, he's a 3 seed at 157, and he has a pretty good run. But, again, the meat grinder divisions, the thing really sort of happens in its own way. At 165, Christopher Mento is the 12 seed. I think he does well in his first round matchup. He faces 165 from Arkansas Little Rock that he should have success against. At 174, Lenny Pinto is number 8. Lenny Pinto is on a run. He's on fire. 22-5 was his season record. And listen, a Big Ten tournament runner-up as an 8 seed, that's a statement unto itself. At 184, it's Silas Allred, who at 19-6, 184 is an interesting one that Silas's style could transfer over better at the national tournament than it does in the Big Ten, where it's the same. You're familiar with everybody and they know how things work for you. And then Camden McDaniel at 197, who was a 20 seed, who still, there are those who look at this matchup and think that he can have some success in the first round. But as I said, 8 of the 9 would be favored in their first round matchups. Then the second round matchups will happen this tomorrow evening, and then the matchups, of course, they're fluid. Depends on who advances, and then it gets the meat grinder part of it. Getting wins 1 and 2 tomorrow are vital for the success, not only of the individuals, because it keeps you from having to win 2 additional matches in the wrestleback, but it also adds points for Nebraska and their bid to be on that podium. And there are 4 trophies that you can bring home from this thing. Nebraska was second in the Big Ten, only to Penn State. And I can tell you, they would have beaten everybody else on a national scale other than Penn State, the way they wrestled at Big Ten. So if they can duplicate that, and there are some points that were left on the board at the Big Ten, I don't think anybody expects anybody to come in here and upset Penn State as a team. Too deep, too good, too consistent. Then the number 2 and 3, then folks are now talking that actually Nebraska would be the favorite to finish second, with Iowa, them and Iowa being 2 and 3. Virginia Tech also in the discussion as well. So it could play out very well for Mark Manning and the Huskers to leave Philadelphia with a trophy. I would imagine that they are expected that 5 or 6 All-Americans as they leave here, and then 4 legitimate opportunities for a national championship if things go the way that we want them to. Bach, I will check in again tomorrow and let folks know after a day of wrestling, setting it all up. It'll be from Wells Fargo Center here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Bach, I appreciate you. Thank you for manning this thing and getting it through. Give a shout out to Captain Blackshirt. Thank you, Blackshirt, for filling in for Steve Taylor and for holding it down while everything's going on and all that crazy weather that y'all are having there in Nebraska. Until I talk to you guys tomorrow, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, simply because.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, not